more.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is Sarah Jones with Politicus Radio, joining me for Stop Trump Talk as we head into the first Republican debate since Trump swept Super Tuesday, is Politicus USA's editor-in-chief, Jason Easley.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, nice to have you.
Pleasure.
Can the Fox News moderators of tonight's 9 p.m. debate clean up the disaster that is Donald Trump? The answer to that question might be obvious based on the day's events. It was a day of fireworks between Mitt Romney and Donald Trump. Mitt Romney is yet another Republican establishment leader the party has tossed at Donald Trump in an effort to stop him, but Mitt Romney's anti-Trump speech missed its mark entirely. Not only did Trump respond by blaming Romney for ruining his carpet in a 2012 fundraising event, but Romney got busted for having begged Trump for his endorsement in 2012. Romney justified this by saying Trump wasn't a bigot or racist back then, but of course Trump was a birther who went on national TV several times to accuse President Obama of being a Muslim. So Mitt Romney has no moral authority, but this isn't a surprise to us. It's odd that the party didn't see this fatal flaw in their plan, but then it's impossible for them to find someone in their party who hasn't played a petty, vicious round of the obstruct Obama game. Heading into the debate, we have Trump, Rubio, Cruz, and Kasich. Jason, can you tell us what to expect? Can the Fox News moderators stop the Trump crazy?
No.
That's it? No.
Nobody
can stop.
No, they cannot. They will not. It's only a matter of time, and if Trump happens to be losing this debate at any point tonight, he will probably try to attack Megyn Kelly again. This debate has the potential to be an absolute disaster. All the parts are in place for this thing to be an epic bout of petty ugliness.
Well, we have Rubio, who's accused Donald Trump of wetting his pants during an earlier debate. We have the Romney comments that Donald Trump is a fraud and a phony. We have Trump v. Kelly, so that's going to be going on. We have Cruz praying that everyone drop out of the race and coalesce behind him. And we have poor John Kasich, who,
just thinks that if he stays happy long enough, he'll outlast everyone else and get to face Donald Trump. This is almost like we talk about this every day, and it's impossible to run out of words to describe what's going on here. It's just endless. I mean, every time you think, okay, this is the Republican low. Mm-hmm. This is it with Trump. They're not going to go any further down. This is it. They've bottomed out. Out comes Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney to make the argument that Donald Trump should release his tax returns.
Right. I mean, that's the whole... Nobody's even talking about that. The man called him a phony and a fraud and talked about his tax returns. These are actually Mitt Romney's problems. Did no one in the party foresee that?
I mean, it's like Mitt Romney wasn't really around in 2012 and didn't see his own campaign. All of it, all of the same stuff that he couldn't answer for or dodged on, like outsourcing jobs.
Right.
Like tax returns, like overseas bank accounts, like massive tax cuts for the wealthy disguised as helping the poor and middle class. All this stuff that he tried to attack Trump for as far as credibility goes. Trump bankrupted a lot of businesses. Well, guess what Mitt Romney's business was?
Yeah, bankrupting other people's businesses and cashing out. I mean, yeah, it's just... And here's another thing. I mean, you make such an excellent point. Well, see, that's the problem. They don't have anyone with moral authority who can attack Donald Trump. That's really their problem. They have no one who can do that. Rubio has started accusing Trump, and I'm wondering if we're going to hear this tonight in the debate, because Trump... Remember when Trump was talking about outsourcing creates jobs in the long run? That was his big pitch that he went on about. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And now he's claiming that he's going to bring jobs back here. I mean, not that it will matter to the Trump people, because of course that's the problem. They don't really care about the issues. They claim that they do, but they don't care at all. So if Rubio hits Trump with this tonight about outsourcing jobs, and Trump saying that outsourcing, which sounds a lot like the trickle-down promises, outsourcing creates jobs in the long run. We hear terrible things about outsourcing jobs, how sending work outside companies is contributing to the demise of American businesses. But in this instance, I have to take the unpopular stance that it's not always a terrible thing. This is right up with Trump saying that wages are too high. But do you think that the people who follow him, so many of whom don't have any more education than a high school degree and are probably for that reason relying on minimum wage, oftentimes, too often, a poor minimum wage, they don't care. What's going to make anyone care? What is going to wake the Trump, is anything going to wake the Trump audience up? No. The Trump supporters?
No. But we know the Trump supporters are brainwashed into believing that they have a strong man who can win and fight. And, that's what Republicans, the segment of the Republican voting bloc has wanted for a long time. They've wanted a strong candidate. A tough-talking, strong candidate. Because
Putin or a Mussolini.
Well, that's why they loved George W. Bush for so long. His cowboy diplomacy, we're going to get him, all this and that after 9/11. Remember, that was his highest pinnacle as a president, was right after 9/11, when he was going it alone and you're with us or against us and all that other stuff. That, there's a segment of the Republican base that actually eats that stuff up. And they don't see or care, I think, about reality or facts. Or
do you think that the same sort of 30-ish% of Republicans who still love George W. Bush, do you think that that's the Trump faction?
No. I think those people are the ones pushing Rubio. The Bush faction, what they liked about Bush was the language. That's how Bush got to that 90% approval rating or whatever it was when he was all tough guy after 9/11. That's the kind of thing. The Trump people are... it's really tough to describe exactly what the Trump people are because they cut across so many demographic areas. It's more like a feeling. The Trump people, I think, are the Fox News audience.
Well, that makes sense because they're really misinformed. I mean, when I've talked to these people, I'm stunned by the things they believe. So basically, going into the debate this evening, there is no way for anyone, including the Fox News moderators, to stop Donald Trump, and none of these candidates really have a chance.
I think, though, what we could be seeing is the beginnings of a trap being set. I really wonder if Donald Trump is in some ways walking into a three-pronged ambush where you'll have Rubio and Cruz teaming up, as you suggested in a previous broadcast. Rubio and Cruz teaming up on Trump, and then Fox News egging them on and massaging the discussion to an anti-Trump level when possible.
I think that's going to happen, but I don't see how that plays with the Trump people. I don't see them losing any enthusiasm for him. In fact, the more he's attacked, if you think about the way this same base responded to Sarah Palin, any sort of thought of people attacking her made them love her even more. It made them blind with devotion. It's almost like a cult. So I don't know that that's going to impact him. I mean, all they can do is hope that Kasich gets Ohio, right? And they break up these delegates among the remaining, whoever's left standing. We don't know if Ben Carson is standing or not because he won't be there tonight.
He won't be in attendance, but his campaign's still not quite over yet.
Yeah, he's just hanging on, kind of. Maybe he did that in surgery, like I'm halfway done. Maybe that's a new Republican thing. I quit halfway through, but I don't really quit. You can't accuse me of quitting.
Quitting without saying I quit.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, we should be looking out for the tag team approach against Trump, which I believe, that makes sense. If Rubio can stand Cruz enough to do that, if anyone can stand, everybody hates Ted Cruz so much. in the Senate. Of course, Rubio's never in the Senate, so maybe he doesn't really hate Ted Cruz.
It's kind of easier to be popular than Ted Cruz if you're never there.
Right. Well, so maybe they will team up. And then Romney will be an issue tonight, no doubt. His comments today.
Don't you think? I think they're going to lead with Romney.
Oh, absolutely.
They're going to come right out of the gate and say, first question for Trump, mid Romney's comments. And then I think Romney was trying to set the table for Rubio and Cruz tonight. He was trying to lay out the issues and the attacks for them to use in the debate. I mean, it's a very coordinated thing, a very coordinated line of attack up to push Rubio. The problem is that this really isn't about taking away Trump supporters. Because, as you pointed out, there's sort of an identification with persecution.
Mm-hmm. A victim complex.
The victim complex. Victimization, popularity through persecution.
Right.
So the problem is that the majority of the Republican Party doesn't support Trump. But it's all fragmented between these three other candidates.
And they've all beaten each other up so much. There isn't really anyone left standing that's not battered. And so when it comes time for the general, it's going to be there's not anyone that can come out of that except for maybe John Kasich, but he of course won't, that will be strong, that could actually hold their own. And I don't even think John Kasich could hold his own against, like, let's just say Hillary Clinton. I don't see that at all. I think maybe he could hold his own in a debate with Bernie Sanders, but I think Bernie Sanders would bury him when it came to actual issues. But we know the Republican Party the base doesn't care about issues. But I think when you talk about foreign policy, Kasich's going to fall apart there. And I think he's their strongest person, but he can't have that discussion with Hillary Clinton. None of them can. I mean, my God, imagine. John McCain just came out today and accused Trump of not knowing anything about foreign policy.
And coming from John McCain.
Oh my God, I literally choked on something because I was like, you're the one who ran the woman who didn't seem to know the difference between North and South Korea, who thought the Queen was in charge of staying in Iraq, and all kinds of other. I mean, she didn't know that Africa was a continent. I mean, we could go on and on. She knew nothing. Putin flies over our airspace. I know everything about foreign policy because Putin flies over our airspace. That was literally his vice presidential pick. And you're going to sit here and say, what does it mean if you're finally saying this person doesn't know anything? Should we all be as terrified as I feel like we should be? Because what he's saying is this guy's a lot worse than Sarah Palin. And nobody, even in the Republican Party and John McCain's own staffers, were going to rebel if he won because of her. Yeah. They were terrified that she was going to destroy this country. So what does it say about Donald Trump?
I think it says that Trump is the logical devolution from Palin. He's the logical next step backwards from Palin, or two steps maybe. It just says that he's
worse than Palin because you know what?
Completely unfit.
Yeah, he is unfit. I mean, I hate to say this, but Sarah Palin did govern Alaska for a short 2 years. She did a lot of things wrong. She abused her power a lot. However, she also she did the socialist program with the oil companies. She had some little bit of populism in her that at least you could imagine, hey, something might accidentally come out and be good that she did. That it's a possibility by accident to do something good for the people. I don't see that with Donald Trump. I know he's playing this populist business and everybody's, he's going to lower taxes. But the man doesn't care about anything but himself. So and I don't think he can even see past his own reflection. It's just constantly in front of him. So I don't see him accomplishing anything except probably getting us into World War III immediately within his first 2 days of office.
The problem is, and
the CIA is going to revolt. I mean, excuse me.
Very frightening. I just thought of something and I wanted to share it with you.
Yeah, please do.
What really, when you talked about Trump and his unfitness, what really jumped out and popped in my head was the way the man obsesses over public opinion polls. He is so obsessed with his own popularity. Can you imagine? Do you want a president governing simply because 51% of people in the Gallup poll said they want this?
Right, right.
Or can you imagine him sitting around obsessing over the polls and wanting to be a more popular president?
Well, he would throw the pollsters in jail if he didn't like what